Mr. Chairman, I'm pleased to serve on this conference committee for H.R. 4173. I suppose we're using the title from the Senate, Restoring American Financial Stability Act of 2010. Given the comprehensive and sweeping nature of the legislation before us, I believe this is the most important financial services conference committee since the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act in 1999. I served on that conference committee. I feared deregulation would have serious negative consequences. I voted no. I was right. The financial crisis and the legislation we have drafted in response to the crisis have made clear the important role of the financial services industry in the lives of everyday Americans, rich and poor, homeowners and renters, the banked and the unbanked. The bill before us today provides us with an opportunity to use public policy to level the playing field, be fair, and not to benefit solely the few, the powerful, and the rich, but to help all Americans. The Consumer Financial Protection Agency is one example of an improvement that the House bill makes to the status quo. Congressional Oversight Panel Chairwoman Elizabeth Warren was one of the first people to realize that the current patchwork of regulatory scheme of consumer protection failed consumers, benefited industry, and led to the resulting subprime mortgage meltdown. This provision to establish a Consumer Financial Protection Agency is essential to this legislation. Derivatives, including credit default swaps, also contributed to the current crisis. These complex instruments were designed to earn huge profits for parties on all sides of the transaction. Unfortunately, a lack of transparency and oversight led companies like AIG to issue swaps that they lack the capital to cover. Strong action is needed in this area, including improving transparency and regulating these products if we are to prevent another meltdown and another bailout. As a member of both the Financial Services and Judiciary Committees, I'm familiar with the issue of interchange fees, having heard testimony from merchants, credit card companies, and banks on this topic. It's a very complicated issue, but must be resolved in a transparent process that recognizes the benefit of the electronic payment system to consumers and merchants, doesn't harm community banks or credit unions, and provides some relief to small businesses and merchants. Ultimately, protecting the consumer should be the guiding principle behind our deliberations. I've also worked on the issue of private student loans for many years, both in this body and in the California State Assembly, ensuring the passage of a law in California called the Maxine Waters School Reform and Student Protection Act of 1989. I remain concerned about proprietary for-profit schools failing to provide students with a meaningful education and succeeding in saddling them with tens of thousands of dollars in high-interest private loans. While I'm pleased that both bills address private student loans, I'm concerned about making sure that students who attend these schools receive a quality education. Lastly, I worked with the other 9 CBC members on the Financial Services Committee to draft an amendment which passed the committee on a voice vote to establish offices of minority and women inclusion at each of the federal banking agencies that are subject to this legislation. The case for these offices is clear. According to a recent study by the Heller School for Social Policy and Management at Brandeis University, the wealth gap between African Americans and whites has more than tripled in 23 years. We absolutely must open up opportunities for minorities and women within the federal banking agencies. These offices will ensure that agencies have fair processes for hiring, recruiting, retaining, working with minority and women employees, and contracting with minority businesses. I look forward to this conference, and I'd like to thank Chairman Frank for his leadership in passing the House bill and in pushing for such an open forum to resolve our differences with the Senate. Mr. Chairman, I thank you. As you know, with the subprime meltdown, minority communities were targeted. When you go into many of these communities, foreclosed properties basically throughout the community, driving down the value of homes, and people have lost everything that they thought was going to be their American dream. I look forward to this conference committee. I think we can do a lot of good, and I yield back the balance of my time.